Alright, yeah, and welcome back to some more Magic Arena, and today we're going to be stepping into some Standard Magic Arena. We haven't actually touched Standard in quite some time, and in fact this is my first time actually playing new Standard, so we've had rotation and a load of new cards from Dominaria United, so it's still kind of a little testing ground where you can get away with all sorts of jank nonsense, and today we're going to be doing Jund Reanimator. Reanimator is a personal favourite of mine, and we got a few cards that can kind of help this matchup out a little bit. We got Cruelty of Gix being the main one that leads us into Black Reanimator anyway. It's a 5-mana saga that has read ahead, which means we can choose whichever chapter we actually want to start on, and the chapter 3 just so happens to be a reanimation spell. It's a reanimation spell for our opponent's graveyard as well, which has some added bonuses. If we manage to kill one of our opponent's big threats, we can potentially get something nice from that. But the first one is a bit of discard. The second is a tutor, which can help us find the tools we need. So putting a reanimation card into our hand, for example, like Titan of Industry, one of Toxriel, and Torvalar's Huntmaster, which could then be discarded with either Fable of the Mirror Breakers Chapter 2 on our main phase, or even playing an Elder Dragon War on the Chapter 2, discarding any number of cards and drawing that many cards. So as I said, this is the first time I'm playing Standard, so forgive me if I don't really know what the meta looks like. Maybe this deck is just complete trash. You'll have to find out in today's gameplay either way. But, you know, we're just throwing things at the wall and seeing what sticks. So I'm going to be trying out Cut Down as well, which is like the new Fatal Push. It's a 1-mana black instant, destroying a creature with total power and toughness 5 or less. So 3/2s like the Underdog, 2/2s like Fable tokens, Bloodtithe Harvester can get killed by Cut Down. There's a lot that this card can hit, but there's also a fair bit that it can't. So I want to find out how good this card actually is, because it might not be a 3-of in this deck after today's videos. I don't know. We'll have to figure that out. But just in case our removals are not that great, we do also have the Meat Up Massacre, which just ruins creature decks. It's what we want to be doing in the early game, is sweeping the board and then playing a big old Titan of Industry or something like that, and hoping that that can get us there. We do have a little bit of a, I guess, a issue with big creature removal, but we also just have big creatures, so I'm wondering whether or not if we can just like block the big creatures and not have to worry about just like hard removing them. But we do have an Infernal Grasp just to hedge against that a little bit. Maybe one of these cut downs needs to be another Infernal Grasp. There's only one way to find out, and that is by playing the games anyway. I should mention as well, we've also got Soul of Windgrace. We're going to be trying this card out. I've been seeing a lot of people playing around with this card recently, and for good reason. It's a 4-mana 5/4, so overstatted a little bit there, which is nice. And then it's got loads of text that does loads of different things, and to be honest, I'm going to be learning about them as I read them to you right now. Whenever Soul of Windgrace enters the battlefield or attacks, you may put a land from a graveyard onto the battlefield tapped under your control. That's the bit I did know. And the thing that you can combo with this with is Riveteer's Outlook, or any of these New Capenna Evolving Wild style lands, because this one enters the battlefield tapped, as Soul of Windgrace says it should anyway. So we don't really have that kind of downside. It immediately sacks itself for a basic swamp, mountain, or forest and gains us 1 life, which means if we have one of these outlooks in the graveyard, we can start using Soul of Windgrace to thin our deck. We've got 6 basics in total, so we've got the 4 outlooks plus the 2 triggers on Windgrace to get plenty of lands out of our deck, and at that point we're not really going to need to ramp so much. We could even cycle the Proving Grounds and then get them back with the Windgrace as well. That's an option that's available to us. Could discard them with Fable and get them back that way. So that's pretty sweet. It does also have some discard land options. We don't have many ways of getting lands into our hand, but once we've gotten up to 7 mana, we don't really have too much of a reason to keep extra lands in play. So we could use them to protect the Soul of Windgrace, or use some of the Soul of Windgrace's abilities. The green one gains us 3 life whenever we discard a land. We got the 1 and red to discard a land to draw a card, and then the 2 and black to discard, give it indestructible, and tap it. So nice little bit of protection there, a little bit of card advantage, and a little bit of life gain. It does it all. But yeah, we're a Reanimator, so we're going to be getting our big boys into the graveyard. I'm sure you know what most of these do. I'm not too sold on Toxfrill, because it is really a Demir card, so we're not going to be able to access the Sacrifice a Slug unless we have treasure tokens, but I don't think that'll really come down to being all that relevant. Honestly, I think we might just want the Slug tokens to protect against Liliana or the Veil, which could be a card that we want in this deck. I'm going to try it without, because everyone's playing it. And, you know, I'm a little bit of a hipster. I don't do what other people do. I do my own thing. So we're going to be playing around with it here. And to be honest, I kind of think that we kind of want cards in hand other than these guys right here who want to go into the graveyard. We kind of want cards in our hand for discarding and redrawing and discarding and redrawing. So I'm not sure that Liliana fits snugly into this list. But you never know. Either way, if you do enjoy today's video, then make sure to hit that like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future. We've definitely got a lot of Explorer and Standard coming up, so stay tuned for that. And without further ado, let's continue. This video is brought to you by the generous support of our wonderful patrons and channel members that you see here. If you'd like to support the channel and get access to cool content like sneak peeks, bonus videos, polls on future content, or access to a personal deck critique from myself every month, then hit the join button down below, or check out the Patreon link in the description. With all that said, let's get into the gameplay. Alrighty then, opponent goes first, and if we've got a creature matchup, this hand's pretty good. Our mana's decent as well. Wondering, I'll probably go for double red on the Overlook for the Elder Dragon War. But then I could also go for double black for the Meetup Massacre, so hard to say which one I should actually go for. I guess I probably won't necessarily need a sweeper if the Elder Dragon War goes well. Who knows? Who knows? Alright, there is no problem whatsoever. I can pick whatever the hell I like. Let's go with... I only have one green source now. So let's just get a spare green source. I do need to work my way towards like Titan of Industry and Huntmaster mana, so... double green helps with that. Blood Tithe Harvester for our opponent. And it's probably worth cutting down, but I don't have to do it right away. Maybe I should, just in case they want to go for Obnixilis. I'm going to kill it anyway. Our opponent's not punished me for being indecisive, which is nice of them. Alright, looting a underdog. Almost forgot his name for a moment. I think I probably like playing Elder Dragon War next turn. I'm hoping that our opponent gives us, yeah, something for Chapter 1 to do. That way I get to see an extra card as well before I use the Chapter 2 to discard. I'd love a Fable of my own, really. Not exactly the best start here. I mean, I would have loved to have already had a reanimation target in my graveyard. Maybe my top deck can help me with that, because then I can play the Diagraph Rebirth. Should be lovely. Alright, Sorin. Begins the card advantage. Okay. Well, we got a Cruelty of Gix, which is certainly a thing. I'm going to get rid of Elder Dragon War. I can reanimate their creatures with the Cruelty. I'm probably going to go for the Chapter 1 and have a look what's in their hand. Let's just get rid of these two, I think. There's a Toxfrill. Just in time. Alright, what have you got? Alright, we actually do want Liliana to discard, but then she can't stick around. That'll make me sad. Graveyard Trespassers also a problem. It's not an immediate problem though, so I think I'll take the Liliana. So they can come down, they can eat something out of my graveyard, but then I can Meat Hook Massacre the Reflection and the Trespasser. So it could be worse. I was kind of hoping they'd minus there just so I could get a little bit of extra value. Chose not to put that in their hand. Must be like an Invoke Despair or something like that.
Those who get in my way tend to regret it.
Alright, their sequencing is lovely here. I will discard the Toxrill you let me keep.
Be outsmarting me.
And then I do need to clear the board, but then I also need to answer these Planeswalkers. What do I want to go for? So I am protected from Liliana's minus by this dragon token. Not really convinced that to be enough, to be honest. Maybe I just take like a Titan of Industry or a Huntmaster. Because I'm going to go Meat Hook Massacre here, I think, so... Yeah, just give me a Huntmaster. Let's Meat Hook X3. I've got Cut Down open as well, which is nice. Can deal with the Vampire token that Sorin could create. Let's see, ult at 7. 13 to any target. Yeah, probably don't want that happening. Let's be honest.
Sacrifices must be made.
Alright, so we lose our dragon. Here comes Sheoldred. Which is definitely annoying.
Blood for knowledge. A fair trade.
I think we go Toxrill out the yard, play Huntmaster to play around Liliana's minus. This Cut Down's looking a little bit worse anyway. So we take 2. Get the Toxrill. Play the Huntmaster, create the wolves that will insulate us a little bit. Because we got the Rebirth, I'm just going to play Takenuma here to hold up and Cut Down. Eventually that's actually going to be able to kill Sheoldred, which is funny. Let's see what they can do. So they're going to gain some life. They can 13 me with Sorin. And they'd lose it from there, so they wouldn't be able to keep the card advantage going, but that might not be a big of a problem. Honestly, my life gain's potentially the issue here. So I think on end step, this becomes a 2-3, right? Of each end step, yeah. So it'd be able to die to Cut Down on their end step. Interesting. Does this mean Obnixless or something like that? What does this aggression mean? Oh, it might mean Meat Hook X1. Let's get rid of the Rebirth. Oh, it's just protection. Opponent discards a flashback card. It's not going particularly well for them in terms of effectiveness here. I think they were trying to... Oh, actually, I think they've realized that the Toxrill is going to make me some slug tokens. Invoke Despair.
Dire times call for dire tactics.
Yeah, I think we're out of the woods now. Officially. Gonna take the 3 if they attack with Shouldered. I think this could have been a lot worse for us if our opponent had sequenced their turns a little bit better. I feel like the ult on Sorin should have maybe killed the Toxrill. So, let all of this happen. Make some slugs, gain some life, kill the Shouldered. Might see them scoop any minute now. Make some more slugs. And then sweep their entire board. Cool. Cool. Yeah, Invoke Despair is not looking particularly problematic because we just sack a slug, sack a meat hook, they draw 1 and we take 2 from 20. So, looking pretty great there. We can attack the Liliana to kill the pack leader, and, you know, a slug can kill the Sorin. Everything else can go at our opponent's face. Not too much concern there. Yeah, that could have definitely gone worse. Yeah, a bit of sequencing making my Toxrill in the graveyard not ideal. But, yeah, it's kind of an interesting way to counter the mono black decks, which seem to be running rampant everywhere. Like, Liliana the Veil, I think, is the most played card right now. Most played non-land, I guess. So, intentionally keeping a card in your hand that you want to be discarded seems pretty decent. And it's reliably going to happen. It's not as though they're just going to, like, not tick up half the time. I mean, there's occasionally situations where, like, they wouldn't want to tick up to get rid of Invoke Despair, for example, but 9 times out of 10, I'm sure they want to do that. But, yeah, I don't agree with not ulting the Sorin. They were digging, I think, through greed to find the answer to the Toxrill, when they probably should have just, like, 13'd him. And, you know, I'd have gotten my Digraph Rebirth back, but I wouldn't have triggered the Shouldered's counter that would allow me to cut it down, so I'd have probably been trading something into the Shouldered to kill their Planeswalkers. Either way, moving on to the next game. Alrighty then, we're in and on the play with a playable hand. So we're going to keep this one. I'd like to see a Fable of the Mirror Breaker off the top, or maybe off the top after it being off the top. Either way. Harvester beats Minister for now. And Soul of Windgrace can maybe do some good stuff here. So the Minister's just going to expose themselves for not a great deal of reason. But a Jadar. Is there any reason for me to Blood Token? Well, I don't think I want to do anything just yet. I mean, I'm taking 2 from the Zombie Token, which I think is mostly okay. Sure. His hand is kind of a little bit awkward because the Blood Token really wants to be discarding something. But the moment I get rid of the Blood Token, the Harvester's not doing exactly what I need it to. Soul of Windgrace doesn't have a land to grab immediately, which is also awkward. So I'm really just preying on our opponent not having the best of starts. Target opponent discards a card. Alright, that's actually, once again, not terrible for us. Let's get rid of the Soul of Windgrace. Now I have a reanimation target, and I can use my Blood Token as a removal source because of the Harvester now. So, let's play the land, kill the Jadar, and then I can just play a Rebirth to get a Soul of Windgrace, I suppose. I think the blood token's discarding another Soul of Windgrace. It's hard to say, though. But now the Minister can't pump the zombie token into a meaningful power. Exiles target creature or planeswalker. Rude. Yeah, I think I might just discard the Soul of Windgrace, maybe to potentially get it back later. It's not doing much good for me right now, just being a 5/4, so... Yeah, we're lucky our opponent's just playing bad cards. A land would be nice. Alright, well we got a Fable of the Mirror Breaker, which can sort of do a thing. Where's our Riveteer's Outlook, or whatever they're called? I'm not blocking here. I want to guarantee the 5 mana. Which, I think I'm mostly guaranteed with the Fable anyway, but... Never mind. Boseiju. Let's have a look at their hand. I want to maybe stop them from doing something on turn 3 if they draw their land. Well, they have a turn 3 play. And we can just get rid of the reinforcements. I'm just going to hit them, I think. Might be a little bit greedy considering we're guaranteed to take 3 off the cruelty and another 2 off the court official, but... I think that might be okay. We can then swing. We've got 3, 4, 5, 6, potentially 7 mana. We can play a Titan of Industry. Gain some of that life back. So, they've only got one thing to do, and that's Wedding Invitation, or... I guess they could also... Yeah, they could also do that, I guess. Swing, get a treasure. I think I'll chapter 2 the cruelty. Choose a creature or planeswalker. We know they don't have either. So let's just search our library for a Titan of Industry, which I think is the best card. And then we get a Soul of Windgrace back on the Chapter 3 as well if they don't manage to get the land for the Rite of Oblivion. But that's going to cost them their Minister as well. Could just get a Blood Tithe Harvester since I've got a Soul of Windgrace in hand, and the discard might be quite nice, honestly. Boop you. What do I think of Titan of Industry killing Wedding Announcement and gaining 5? I don't hate that. Lose it to Rite of Oblivion, but not too much I can do about that, I don't think. So boop that, game 5. I think it still works out positively for me anyway because of the investment that they've got to put into this. My board state's still better after they kill the Titan of Industry, because they have to sacrifice something, so it just makes their board even worse. Still looking for a land to put into the graveyard. I would have thought I'd have had one by now, but... oh well. Have they put one in there? No. This thing can actually steal your opponent's lands, which is the strangest thing ever. Okay, so it looks like they're going to Rite of Oblivion the Minister so that they can get him for 2. Okay. Is this another creature? Nope. I am very confused. Hmm. 2, 3. So I can swing for 5. Could do Elder Dragon War just to sweep, but my board's looking a little bit better than theirs anyway. I think maybe I just play Solar Wind Grace. Play our land. Pass the turn. Plan on using my blood token to discard here. Sure. Same old song and dance, except for I take 3 from the conscript this time, I guess. Yeah. Pretty sure I'm winning this race. There we go. Riveteer's Overlook. Now I'm definitely winning this race. So you get to kind of see what the Soul of Windgrace's reason to be in here actually is. So you can pull back that Riveteer's Outlook that immediately gets sacrificed. And I can do that every single turn until the end of time. Which is just wonderful. Attack you for 5, make a treasure token. They're basically forced to Rite of Oblivion it pre-combat. Yeah. They got a lot of low quality cards in this deck. Kind of expected a little bit more from them, but this is what it is, right? If they attack me, they lose. So, yeah, they're not going to do that. And just play a Huntmaster. Probably shouldn't play into Meat Hut Massacre too much. But then again, I suppose they could only Meat Hook X3 next turn, so by doing this and making a 4/4, I think I'm mostly just solidifying the victory. Yeah, they'd need land and Meat Hook to really do anything there. So, take the victory. What a weird game. Our deck is definitely quite clunky. That's something to keep in mind, that there is a little bit of clunk in here that definitely says to me that revisions are needed on this deck. Some way of getting those creatures into the yard a little bit quicker. Maybe just more targets to reanimate might be the solution to that, so that we can see them a little bit more often. Maybe some more discard options, but I think between Fable of the Mirror Breaker and the Elder Dragon War, you should really have the discard you really need. It's just putting it in your hand is a little bit awkward. You know, the Cruelty of Gix can do a little bit of that as well, but yeah, there is a little bit of clunk here. We need to figure it out, but we're just going to continue on and see if we can get some more data points. Let's do it. Alrighty then, we're in on the draw. We have decent mana. We have a reanimation target that we can get into the yard the turn before our reanimation spell is live. So, Yep, no issues with this hand whatsoever. See what our opponent's up to. Well, it could be a mono blacklist. And in which case, we've got discard options available, thanks to the Liliana on turn 3. And Torvalar's Huntmaster's pretty good against Liliana because of the wolf tokens that it creates. Though I suppose they could do, like, Meat Hook Massacre on turn 4, get rid of the tokens, then minus the Liliana. So there is a world where they can deal with the Huntmaster. That's pretty good for the Soul of Windgrace. And we're going to go get another black sauce here. Yep. Come on, Gabe. So far, so good. Alright, they've hit 3 mana. Do they have the Liliana? Or are they just going to evolve the Sleeper? Just going to make a 3/3 Death Touch. Alright. Does put them out of cut down range. Another Riveteer's Overlook. Well, I'm not playing anything on turn 3, so let's just thin the deck again. This time I'm going to grab a red source, because currently my second red is a Pain Land. And pass the turn. So I can at least Soul of Windgrace and get some immediate value, even if it would die. Alright, there's a Sorin.
Violence is necessary to set things
And
right.
gonna tick up.
My ways are not.
Gonna take 3. So it's a tough one, because I could do the Elder Dragon War in order to discard a couple... discard the Huntmaster so I can then reanimate it. But I could also just, like, hard cast the Huntmaster next turn anyway with the Soul of Windgrace play. So I think that's what I'm going to do. Thins the deck as well, which has added benefits. Just give me some more green for Titan of Industry, I guess. We need triple green for that. So 5 mana. I expect to see, like, an Invoke Despair. Expect it, I did. Ooh, gonna make a vampire token.
You deal with this annoyance.
That does interest me in Meat Hook Massacre a little bit. Because I am at 10, I do need to respect what they've got here. Getting this in play would be nice as well for a little bit of a punish for like any removal spells. It's also an enchantment for Invoke Despair that I don't mind losing. I think I'm gonna X3 Meat Hook here. Go up to 12. So this is the deck to beat, for anyone who's not kind of familiar with Standard right now.
A fair trade.
I hate that. I do very much hate that card. That does nerf quite a fair bit of my deck. And there's not a great deal I could do about it. It's like the Elder Dragon War doing the discard is just a horrible idea. I think I'm just playing the Huntmaster to try and guarantee as little damage getting through as possible. Gotta be careful about Liliana's minus, so I don't want to double block with my wolf tokens. Unless my Huntmaster dies first, then I probably will. An answer to Shouldered would be nice. She has impressed me a little bit more than looking at her at spoiler season. I'm kind of disappointed she's not like a Reanimator card. More than anything. It's her not being a Reanimator card is kind of the reason why I'm playing Reanimator right now, funnily enough. Right, well, I'm blocking here. This could be just their lead up to try and get rid of Huntmaster with an Invoke Despair by, you know, like, killing my token and then doing some stuff, but I'm not taking 3, so do what you must, opponent. But yeah, the fact that this doesn't reanimate kind of disappointed me during spoiler season, but it's still doing a thing. Might not be as interesting as, like, OG Shieldred, but still good. Alright, yeah, so I think this is our opponent saying, I have a way to kill your Huntmaster as long as you don't have more stuff. And that's fine. 2-mana Rebirth. Don't see that really being likely to occur.
Not for the weak.
So I'm going to Rebirth the Huntmaster again. The amount of work they put into deal with this Huntmaster makes me quite pleased that it's going to stick around this time. But we're at 7. Can gain life with the Soul of Windgrace with a top deck Titan of Industry. Those things would be quite nice. Who is it that does the fighting on Huntmaster's flip side? Another wolf. Okay. Meat Hook X2. Oof. And you know, if I had 1 mana open, I could kill the Shieldred right now. That's unfortunate. Alright. Goodbye. Goodbye reanimation spell. Okay. A hostile hostile. Oh man. That's certainly a card. I need an answer. I have to take some damage here. In fact, I'm really just dead. I don't think there was really anything I could do. Like, the Graveyard Trespasser attacking will take me to 2, presumably, because yeah, there's creatures to do, and then the Shieldred's going to kill me. But I'm dead if I do nothing, dead if I do something, so yeah, just couldn't present a threat here. Cut down looking a little bit disappointing with Shieldred and Graveyard Trespasser being cards. So this might need to be cut down a little bit for more unconditional removal. Opponent's just completely wasting my time at this point. They've already won. Unless they think the Trespasser's not just dead pre-combat. I mean... Oh, getting him with Shieldred as well. Oh, I'm dead because of Meat Hut Massacre. So, yeah, we're going to move on. Dead in a million different ways. Alrighty then, on the play, we got a bit of an expensive hand. 26 lands, so seeing a 3rd land might be okay, but it doesn't really let me do anything, so I think I'm just going to hit the mull on that one. This one looks a lot better. Do I prefer Huntmaster or Industry or Soul of Wind? I think I want the Soul of Windgrace guaranteed because we have the Overlook here. That's going to ramp us up into one of these. It's whether or not I think I'm going to need the tokens to protect my creatures, Or I'm going to need the artifact and enchantment removal. Could even just be get rid of Meat Hut Massacre, but that somehow feels wrong. I don't feel too comfortable with that, getting rid of my only removal spell. I think I'll opt to go for Titan of Industry to the bottom here. And I do want to draw lands, so I'm not going to thin the deck just yet. I can play just about... Well, actually, the Blood Tithe Harvester is the only playable 2-drop that I'd really want to slam off the top. But I can play Cut Downs and Infernal Grasps just fine. Cruelty of Gix. Alright. So, I think now's the time to thin the deck, because this will open up Fable of the Mirror Breaker as a top deck. I do want double green, but I've got it. Double red, I guess, is the next double mana requirement that goes up the curve, the Elder Dragon War. Overgrown Farmland says to me this is going to be a creature deck, so I'm very happy to have this Meat Hut Massacre and not to have downed it. Jukai Naturalist. We got Sulphurous Springs. Alright, so I'm just going to play a basic and pass. We can X2 Meat Hut Massacre. Runes is no longer a thing. I hated that deck, so I'm glad to see that. But our opponent is still doing some enchantment stuff. Reign of Truth. Put it on the Visitor. Dang it. It's worth a shot. Alright. Looks like we might be taking 5. I wonder if we can race this. It's going to be tough to call, honestly. I guess when they're not powered up, they are quite small, which means the Meat Hut Massacre can get them. And I've got the Riveteer's Overlook here. Double green, double black. I need triple green at this point. Yeah, so I could either block to save some life, which might be correct. I think if the Visitor puts the counter on the Naturalist and makes it a 4/4, I'm going to lose the Solar Windgrace anyway. So let's see if they take that line. Not too fussed about the Michiko flip once I've dealt with the board. Touch of the Spirit Realm. Alright, just going to exile the Solar Windgrace. And they do put it on the Naturalist. Alright, that does cause a problem. I also need a top deck to play the Huntmaster here. So yeah, they might be just racing us. Go down to 10. A land top deck would be nice. So I don't have an option for the Chapter 3 on Cruelty. Chapter 2 makes me lose 3 down to 7. I hate that idea as well. I mean, I think I just have to play Fable and hope for the best, really. The swing will let me at least get another mana source for Huntmaster, which could keep me alive. I'm sure there's a set of... Yeah, there's definitely a set of cards that just kills me here. Another touch to get rid of the token into a Reign of Truth, probably, would do it. We do at least get to potentially kill a Portrait of Michiko now. So that's like an extra life point we could potentially gain from the Meat Hut Massacre. All comes down to the size of this Naturalist and our ability to actually cast the Meat Hook. If we're forced to block with the Goblin token, We might struggle. Well, there's Touch of the Spirit Realm adjacent. Dealing with the token. But I can still meat hook X4 next turn if I Fable into a land. I think that still dies because it's equal to spirits and enchantments. Spirit, enchantment, enchantment. So this should get really small. I should be able to sweep here. I'm taking 6. So if Fable can hit a land, I can probably win the game off of that. Got to imagine that would do a lot of good, although Catilda coming back as a disturbed creature might also be an issue. Alright, let's get rid of these two. Got the land. X4 Meat Hook Massacre. Sweep the board, take 1 but gain 4. And see how we go. We do have the Cruelty of Gix that can get the Titan of Industry into play, which has reach, so we don't have to care about the Catilda. In fact, I think we're just going to win the game here, honestly, because we're going to go Cruelty on just Chapter 3. Get a Titan of Industry killing the Touch of the Spirit Realm, giving us our Soul of Windgrace back. Gaining the life off the Riveteer's Outlook. Our opponent's probably going to concede. Had they just played a little bit more around Meat Hook, they might not be dead. But I think it's fairly likely that they are. Yeah, Titan of Industry. Is there a enchantment protection spell? Not that I think it makes a great deal of difference, but that would be able to keep the Soul of Windgrace out of play. The problem they've got is if they don't answer this Titan, I'm going to be able to... Let's gain 5. Get rid of that. Gain 5. Let's get out of danger zone. Yeah, if they don't kill the Reflection, I'm going to be able to copy Titans. So I think this game is just, like, completely over. Short of... I mean, I don't even know if there is short of anything. Like, I guess the worst thing that could happen is a board wipe, and even that's not that bad. Overlook gets me a swamp. And now it's just a matter of just whittling them down a little bit. 1 point at a time, while constantly playing Titans of Industry that definitely just attack their deck. Could even play a Huntmaster, I suppose. Huntmaster copy with Reflection. We've got so many options. Opponents suddenly slowed down on their movements. I'm gonna hazard a guess to say that they don't like Meat Hook Massacre. Maybe they wish they'd have played around it a little bit more. I think it was possible to do, right? Alright, so they get rid of the Titan. They're going to scoop immediately when I do this. Destroy, make a Rhino. Get a Titan of Industry. Gain 5, make a Rhino. Copy Titan of Industry. Make a Rhino, gain 5. Attack for a lot. Gain another one. Oh, baby. Now we're talking. Thin the deck. I think I got like 2 basics left. I'm just gonna Eiganjo my Soul of Windgrace. Sure. Yeah, 2 basics. Doesn't really matter which ones I pick. And yeah, we're just creating new Titans of Industry, new Rhino tokens every single turn now. As if we really even needed to. Michiko's Reign of Truth, no targets. Good top deck. Diagraph Rebirth. So actually gets me a Huntmaster, I suppose. Kill that, make a Rhino. Get a Huntmaster. Swing with everything. And that's a board state. Ooh, baby. Alright, well, the deck definitely showed itself off there. It was, I think, a losable matchup, right, with the Jukai Naturalist potentially gaining 1 point out of range of Meat Massacre could have saved our opponent there. I think maybe they might have been a little bit upset that they didn't play around it a little bit more. I certainly got the impression they were doing it earlier, though, when they were initially putting the counters on the Naturalist. They got it to a point where it was always out of Meat Hut range, but then just somewhere along the line they just decided to stop doing that. But yeah, I mean, the deck's able to recover if it can survive long enough. This is kind of the end game we're hoping for, is just big threats and our opponent not having sweepers for them. And even if they do, we've got flashback cards to potentially regain, as well as cruelty to search out for whatever cards we need in the given moment. But yeah, this deck's pretty fun. I don't think it's overly competitive. It seemed like it struggled quite a fair bit against the mono black deck. The Huntmasters help against Liliana, but not enough. So I wouldn't say this is close to tier 1 at all. It might be like tier 2.5, honestly, which, you know, is where Reanimator mostly finds itself 9 times out of 10 anyway. But yeah, I guess craft at your own risk if you do want to craft it. Otherwise, you know, it's a fun time if you get to play the game. So yeah, I'd definitely consider changing some cards over as well. We did have some clunky matchups where the creatures didn't find their way into the graveyard as easy. Potentially we need to do like an Esper Reanimator list with Rafine and Faithful Mending and stuff like that. That could help us a little bit to fill our graveyard and maybe get some different payoffs like Hullbreaker Horror as well, which is really good. So maybe it's worth checking out a Esper Reanimator deck and losing the Reflections and the Dragon War as our ways to fill the graveyard. I think we gain a fair bit from Esper, actually, so yeah, I'm going to be looking into that for sure, but we'll be back with that one, I guess, at a later date, because I got plenty more standard decks to play anyway. But yeah, that's going to do it for today's video. Hopefully you guys enjoyed, and if you did, make sure to hit the like button and subscribe for more content like this in the future, and without further ado, going to end it off here. Take care, and peace.